Hi guys, and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today I'll be explaining how to use a world time bezel to determine a local time on any of the cities written on the bezel. It's one of the simplest and most useful complications you can use. The first thing you have to do is determine what your local time zone is. You don't have to find the exact city, you just have to find the city that corresponds to your time zone. In my case, it's a Geneva because I'm in Europe. So you might have Paris or Berlin written here, it doesn't matter, it's the one that corresponds to you. In my case, it's Geneva. Then you have to align that line with your current time on this 24-hour ring right here between the dial and the bezel. So you have to convert your 12-hour time into your 24-hour time, meaning that if currently it was 9 p.m., I would align this line with the 21 right here. Since it's currently 9 a.m., I'm going to align it with 9 right here. So you're just going to turn the bezel and go to the 9 o'clock, as you can see right here. Once you've aligned your time zone to the current time, which is 9 a.m., now you can read the time of all the cities on the bezel by simply finding a city, let's say New York, and seeing what the time is. You will determine the hours while the minutes remain the same, so you can know the exact time of any city. So New York is gonna be 3:27 because you're following the minutes of your local time. They're the same for the whole world, and just change the hours. Let's say if you want to determine Los Angeles, it's gonna be 12 midnight, so it's now midnight and 20 minutes. If you want to determine, I don't know, let's say Midway, as you can see, it's 9 p.m. If you want to determine Sydney, it's 6 p.m. Now, all of these are going to be correct during the winter. However, because my time zone observes summertime or DST, something that most countries in Asia do not, in Africa do not, in South America do not, you're gonna have to subtract that hour when you're reading times during the summer. So currently I'm observing the DST, meaning that my time zone is advanced by 1 hour compared to the rest of the world. So if I want to read the time correctly, I have to know whether one of these cities does observe DST or do not. Now, New York, Denver, Los Angeles, they do observe DST just like me, so I keep reading them off their own lines. So New York, 3. Denver, as you can see, 1. However, most of Asia does not. Mexico does not. So if I want to read the local time in Mexico, I'm not going to read it here. I will during the winter, but during the summer, I have to subtract that hour. So instead of reading it here as 2 a.m., I'm going to have to subtract 1 hour. So I'm going to read it on the line before the name. So Mexico is going to be read as 1. The same thing goes, let's say, for I don't know, Tokyo. Tokyo does not observe the DST. So I'm not going to read Tokyo here as 1728, but I'm going to read it here at this line, meaning it's 1628. So in Tokyo currently is 1628. Now, when it comes to another one, which is Australia, things get even more complicated. Now, Sydney and Auckland, so Australia and New Zealand, they do observe the DST, but their DST doesn't appear when our DST does because they're on the southern hemisphere. So their summer comes when we have winter here. So currently they're not observing the DST, so you read them just like any other Asian or other South American city. So Sydney is not going to be 1830 already now, but you're going to read it here as 1730. Oakland is not going to be 2030. You're going to read it at the beginning, meaning that it's going to be 1930. Where things get complicated is during the winter, because during the winter we're going to move our hours by 1 back, like so. And now all of the cities are going to be correct because those observing the DST stopped observing the DST, and those that didn't observe the DST are now aligned properly. So as you can see, Mexico is now 1 a.m., which is how we read it during that line when we had the DST. Now we don't have the DST and everything is correct. Even Sydney, as you can see, is now correct. But the problem is that Sydney and Auckland are going to turn on their DST. So they're going to advance by 1 hour during our winter. So during the winter, all the cities are going to be correct except Sydney and Auckland, where now you have to add 1 hour that they added. So to do so, you're just going to read Sydney and Auckland when they observe their DST with the line after their name. So Sydney is not going to be 17, it's going to be 18. Auckland is not going to be 19, it's going to be 20. As simple as that. So that's it. During the winter, all of them are going to be correct except Sydney and Auckland. You're going to have to adapt. But during the summer, if you live in a time zone where you don't observe the DST, all of them are going to be correct except New York and the European cities. So you're just going to have to adapt for the DST changes. Now, when it comes to this watch, this 24-hour bezel is fixed, so you just move the hours. You move the outer bezel to align it with your current 24-hour time. However, more advanced watches from Patek Philippe and even some from Orient and Seiko, with the 24-hour bezel actually moves the way this GMT hand moves. So you're just gonna have to align it the first time. You will have to align the city the first time, and the 24-hour ring is gonna turn showing the current time in all the cities constantly, so you won't have to keep adjusting it, because whenever my time changes I have to adjust this ring because the 24-hour scale is fixed. On those watches it follows the current time, so you just adjust the cities to your local time, and once you've done that you're gonna be able to read the time off of it anytime when you want. Anyway, so that's it. A bit of a underdog kind of complication, but I personally love it because it's a very simple and really powerful when you know how to use it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.